because their casings are designed to smash through targets. Upon impact, it unleashes a devastating blast radius, spanning up to a mile in all directions. This is partly thanks to its thin aluminum casing, which maximizes the explosive force, but the Moab's impact extends beyond physical destruction. Lost morale just AK-630. Let's go back to 1964.
Hoy, na, ang pangalang gaan.
Soviet Union made the AK-630.
Nga, ang may
This is an automatic gun that rapidly fires
mga item mo, mga baso.
pierce armor and make things very clean. The fully loaded
Di mo mga unin isda?
AK-630 weighs in at just over 10 tons, boasts a barrel length of 5.3 feet. The gun in question can unleash
Igutom na ako kay sakit na ang ngipon. Saan saan. Ito na kang ulo, ito na kang ngipon.
The guns are directed by self-defense system, known by the catchy name of A13 Dimple A. The system includes gun, radar, optical, and TV control systems, all working automatically without needing human supervision. If any enemy planes come too close, the system has a range of up to 4,400 yards for aerial targets and up to 5,000 yards for surface targets. The success of the original AK-630 led to an upgrade in 1979 to the AK-630M, before getting another upgrade to the AK-630M12 Duet in 1983.
Agad
Now, if you thought the original
nanalo
AK
ka.
was heavy, this thing weighs just over 13 tons when fully loaded. That's the same as about 30 grand pianos. Unlike its predecessors, the Duet can fire 10,000 rounds per minute. Last one, harmonious duet. Bastion P. Ever found yourself stuck in traffic and wished you could blow that jam away? What you need is the Bastion P. We're back to Russia once again for this missile system, first
Mga down
introduced
away.
in 2010.
Alik din, ngiton kita.
While known as Stooge in the West, in Russia, the P in Bastion stands for Perevozny, which means mobile or transport.
Aga.
The Bastion weighs 45 tons, measuring 42 feet long and 11.8 feet
Saan
tall.
nga ang tubig?
These were constructed in an attempt to defend Russia's massive coastline, carrying two P-800 Onyx anti-ship cruise missiles, each measuring over 28 feet long and weighing about 3.5 tons. The Stooge fires at enemy ships with a range of 186.4 miles, with a high-low flight trajectory, and 74.5 miles with a low flight trajectory. These are fire and forget type missiles, meaning they don't need 8 feet tall. These were constructed in an attempt to defend Russia's massive coastline, carrying two P-800 Onyx anti-ship P6.4 miles.
Ano ka na?
High-low trajectory, and 4.5 miles with a low flight trajectory. These are fire and forget type missiles, meaning they don't need supervision at the launch. The system relies on satellite guidance during the start of the flight and switches to active radar guidance as it moves the target, hitting the enemy with a high explosive with some armor-piercing warhead that can weigh up to 550 pounds. Altogether, it will be stuck in rush hour again. S-400 fighters. Back in 2017, the country of Turkey scourged a whopping
Yeah.
$2.5 billion to acquire an anti-missile system from Russia. What kind of weapon could command such a price tag? It's none other than the S-400 Triumph air defense system, first unveiled back in 2007 for the first air defense bill. This formidable machine is a revamped version of the S-300, which first appeared in 1978. The Triumph is one heck of an upgrade. Its multi-purpose system, complete with radar detectors that track and intercept stealth aircraft, and most importantly, missiles that shoot down enemy aircraft. It's compatible with 4 types of interceptor missiles, each capable of reaching different distances, ranging from over a terrific 246 miles to just 25. Its most trusted tool is the 48 M6 missile, along with its 315-pound explosive warhead. These missiles can hit aircraft up to 155 miles away and stop ballistic missiles within a 37-mile area. If the S-400 wasn't scary enough, the newest iteration, the S-500, entered production in 2021. Found on an American gunship, the AC-132 Stinger II. The main weapon on board is an M102 howitzer, the largest gun attached to any gunship in the world, capable of unleashing gigantic 105mm shells, each weighing 33 pounds, in just 1 minute. The M102 is an older style of gun that was first put into service in 1966 and originally designed for ground use. This mighty weapon weighs over 1.5 tons and stands around 17 feet in length. When fired, it recoils with the gargantuan force of 24,000 pounds, meaning it requires a separate heavy-duty recoil system and can only be installed on larger planes that won't be thrown off their flight path when this thing is fired.
Thank you so much.
Fortunately, this
Yaw na, oy. Kanusa man na.
weighing 155,000
Kasi nagamit na.
pounds.
Kuha ko lain itong dako.
M102 to fire its giant munitions. In 2022, it was announced that the Stinger's 105mm gun aircraft unit would be upgraded. Most of the time I'm making this video is still in testing. Guess I'll have to make that in part.
Tulan, wala-walang agas. Nakapanglaba.
Today, I'll roleplay as a whale. Not that whale, not this whale, but...
Isa na. Allah. Ano sa to tinuod? Thank you, Risa.
I'm sure we've all heard the legend of the impact crater, a tale that began when long ago an asteroid left its signature behind in the Earth's crust. Now, players from every corner of the map gather here for one reason: to fight to the death within the Colosseum-like walls. This is easily the most dangerous place in the entire game. Even the very toughest of players have met their fate here. So that got me thinking, would it be possible for a tiny defensive
Thank you, Eric.
to not only survive, but
Good
to
morning to morning,
Gunship,
Sama.
the walls of Impact Crater. Every threat you've seen in this intro is in this video, including a stage where we have no health, food, or water. Can I survive my most impossible challenge yet? Let's find out. Oh yeah, and don't forget to join the Discord. Link in the description. Enjoy the video. Oh, okay. I always fear this. Plunging headfirst into this hole as a juvenile Allosaurus was basically signing my own. 10 seconds is the time it took for this airborne definition to see me. I was free food. Or at least I would have been if the Quetzalcoatlus was hungry. Imagine we just got in and immediately died to that.
Sige ka at eskwelahan no, maughan. Ay sa pamutbot.
I knew how lucky I was. My life should have been over
Dili
there
unta
and then.
kapon.
But I couldn't let myself get too excited. While danger had introduced itself, it could only get worse. We best do some quests. I want to grow quickly. I don't want to die immediately, though. Not again. First, okay. Quick. Completing quests such as this is.
Guy. There was nothing. There was nothing. This other wagon says there was nothing.
That's okay. We're gonna keep. There was nothing there. We're gonna keep going.
Certainly not a city. Stop real quick. Stop it. We can go out. Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm outside, dude. I'm going in. Oh my god.
How are you outside? Did you just jump off the top?
Oh, I jumped through the window. Come on, dude. There's darkness to be conquered.
There's ruins up here. You wanna go?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna follow the light path. It seems safe.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
There are walking animations, so.
Thank you, Eric. Have a good dito. Bantay ang tubig mo agas na ka kay manglaba ko.
And in this video, airsoft fails, fights, and best moments never do it. So, you can call me Big. I'm a deep dive.
Tuyo ko rin kalimutan o upat na oras.
Damn it, Dave.
Tuyo ko rin
Crazy as it sounds,
kalimutan o
they
upat
actually
na
have
oras.
that from planes that can travel faster than the speed of sound.
A-72
And
F-117
control drones capable of deploying devastating automated weapons. Buckle up, folks. We're
No.
about to check out some
F-117 Raptor
contemporary
aircraft sa tanan
equipment to the
kalimutan.
public.
Ano ba?
Sa Amerika, malikan na lang.
Sharp sword of China. We all have that friend who's also kind of a rival, right? Like in the Pokemon games, you take the fire Pokemon, they take the water one. I guess that kind of sums up the relationship between the USA and China. In November 2013, the world called its first glimpse of the CCP.
Pwede na. Gusto kong ganit kayo ng TV.
I mean, just look at it. Because of this, some people reckon
Kung ano
that Eastern
plastic niya,
countries
yeah.
utilized its espionage network to steal Western designs. Unlike the purely reconnaissance-focused RT-170, though, the GJ-11 can apparently fire precision-guided missiles and satellite-guided bombs, and is capable of taking off from amphibious assault ships, making it far more attack-focused. It wouldn't be until 2022 that China would go public about the plane's existence, but there are still many mysteries surrounding it. What's it going to be used for? When? And how? The even bigger question is, does it stand up to what's in the United States armory? Until we know more, we'll just have to wait and see. Dastardly dark web hackers. Whenever I buy a new laptop, the first thing I do is stick tape over the camera. Not just to hide the government, though. Criminal hackers pose a risk, too. Don't believe me? Well, let me tell you about Global Eye. No, not Golden Eye. Global Eye. It's an airborne radar system used by the United Arab Emirates Air Force that alerts the country's military of incoming nasties. You know, tanks, ships, intercontinental ballistic missiles, rampans. It's usually installed on Bombardier's Global 6000 or 6500 aircrafts. But in 2021, details of the advanced reconnaissance system were leaked on the dark web by a group of ransomware attackers. That's people who hold data hostage and demand money for it to either be accessed again or kept from leaking. The details of the system were initially acquired when the hackers broke into Bombardier systems, and it's thought that Bombardier refused to pay the ransom. So, true to their word, the hackers dropped the
Masarap
leaks.
sila ng ko.
Criminals they might be, but at least they're not liars, I guess. Personally, I choose to make a living through an honest, respectable way, making amazing content for you. So go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons, and you'll never miss another video again. All done? Great. What's up next? Space Mouse. Boy. Next up, we have the Sequoia 70 unti-unting. The public's first
Tag din
sighting
na.
of this Russian stealth drone came when leaked photos of the and beyond with missiles that can travel at least 136 miles. That's the distance between New York City and Providence. What's more, the targeting system on this thing is apparently so advanced it can detect targets from nearly 250 miles away. So if it has you at its sights, well, good luck. Stalkhawk. You might have heard of the Blackhawk helicopter. It's become a somewhat iconic symbol of the U.S. military, but you probably didn't know a version of it exists made specifically for stealth. Wait, a stealthy helicopter? I know, crazy, right? You can hear a chopper coming from half a state away, at least an ordinary chopper. But when U.S. SEALs were sent on a top-secret mission to Pakistan back in 2011, they weren't using ordinary choppers. And that's not something the public was supposed to know. During the mission, one of the special Blackhawks got damaged and couldn't leave the country. So in order to prevent any reverse engineering it, the SEALs were ordered to completely destroy it. Only they failed. The tail survived. And someone on the ground took photos of it before publishing them online for the whole world to see. The ground tail rotor gearbox was covered, which isn't typical of a Blackhawk and was probably to try and muffle the noise. It also had 5 or 6 blades instead of 4. More blades means each blade can be smaller, and smaller blades make less noise. On top of this, the tail fin was completely smooth and covered in a pearlescent material, probably made to absorb radar waves. After the raid, Pakistani officials said that the 2 modified Blackhawks had completely evaded radar, so the designs were clearly successful. It really makes you think. What else can the U.S. military do without anybody knowing? Lining my collection of rare Barbie dolls right now. Laser Fighter. The Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider. This futuristic lord of disguise was named to honor Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle, who in World War II led a squad of 16 B-25 Mitchell medium bombers in a mission against the Imperial Japanese. The men known as the Doolittle Raiders were so successful that they changed the course of the war in the Pacific. Dang. Back in the present, The American-built B-21 Raider is a classified strategic bomber designed to be easily upgraded if needed. It's been under development since 2015 after a developmental contract was awarded to aerospace and defense tech companies Northrop Grumman. Despite most of the project being highly classified, though, some details have been released to those in the know. The sleek-looking craft will be able to deliver both conventional and thermonuclear weapons, as well as provide reconnaissance. Craziest of all, though, it's touted to be the first ever sixth-generation fighter. That means it can incorporate artificial intelligence to streamline information, improve targeting, and provide pilots with real-time info on the war zone. And it could also have, yes, you're hearing me right here, lasers, or directed energy weapons, as the boring folks in weapons development like to call them. But we all know that means lasers. Of course, nobody wants war, but if the worst ever happens, I'd rather be on the side with the futuristic forces than be. Gamers gone wild. Gamers. I shook hands with a gamer once, so I've definitely got nothing against them. But drama seems to follow them wherever they go, whether it's getting mouthy in Call of Duty lobbies or publishing restricted military information on video game forums. Wait, what? Yeah. In a few short years, players of the online war MMO War Thunder have found and leaked confidential information on everything from tanks and choppers to aircraft. All because they want to win arguments which is the best. Seriously, one such gamer known as Space Navy 90 was in the middle of a heated online debate back in 2022 about US F-117 fighter jet. To make a point about war crew's accuracy, he posted restricted information about the aircraft online. Very clever. So the F-16 Falcon fighter is an all-purpose American supersonic fighter jet capable of flying more than double the speed of sound. Whoa. Armed with a 20mm rotary cannon and able to fire and drop a variety of different weapons, it's considered one of the most capable military jets in history, and it was introduced to War Thunder in 2022. Mr. Space Navy 90 backed up his claim about the fighter by attaching 4 documents to his forum post. 3 were research reports on some missiles the F-16 was used to test, and the 4th was an F-16 pilot's handbook on said missiles. How the heck did Space Navy 90 get his hands on all that? Is he actually an anti-NATO agent sent from a hostile country posing as a gamer to cause a bit of aggro? Well, that's unlikely. And paranoid, if my therapist is to be believed. American journalist Noah Smith theorized that the gamers responsible for these leaks are probably military personnel themselves or Wiley City. I'm unsure what happened to Space Navy 90 in the end, but like zombies, publishing restricted information to a forum for the world to see is not going to get you on the U.S. government's good side. What do you think, guys? I can't help but wonder what it means for national security if gamers can get a hold of and leak sensitive information about a nation's defensive capabilities. But hey, at least they get to send their fake flocks of F-16 Falcons into their digital combat zones, right? Right? The white bat. Ever think you'd see an aircraft that the Batman might use in real life? No? Well, you're right. You won't see it. Because this plane, called the White Bat or Northrop Grumman RQ-180, isn't for your eyes yet. It's so secret, we don't know if White Bat is an accurate description at all. The American stealth drone is so classified that aside from the basic fact of its development, no images or statements have ever been officially released. But there is some speculation that it's been seen flying over the Philippines and Area 51. Are any of these secret aircraft not associated with Area 51? To add to the mystery, in November of 2021, the U.S. Air Force released a 180 isn't for your eyes yet. It's so secret, we don't know if White Bat is an accurate description at all. The American stealth drone is so classified that aside from the basic fact of its development, no images or statements have ever been officially released. But there is some speculation that it's been seen in the Philippines and Area 51. Are any of these secret aircraft not associated with Area 51? To add to the mystery, in November of 2021, the U.S. Air Force released a video in which it made a cryptic reference to the next generation bat, seemingly confirming it's still very much in development.
The days of balloons and biplanes bats have been replaced by white bats.
If reports are to be believed, the
No,
white
it's-
bat has been stalking the sky since 2010 under constant examination and evaluation from the Air Force, and still remains as elusive as ever. So I guess it is worthy of being associated with the Batman. Let's just hope there's no equivalent Joker aircraft to worry about. Aurora Black Triangle. If you thought the RQ-180 was as secret as it gets, think again. I've got something so secret, so under wraps, that the U.S. government denies its existence entirely. In fact, it's been decried as nothing more than an urban legend by military experts. I'm talking about the Aurora. The legend of this enigmatic aircraft began in March of 1990, when Aircraft magazine Aviation Week in Space Technology wrote the news that $455 million had been allocated towards black aircraft production in the 1985 U.S. budget, which also featured the word Aurora. After that, so-called sightings of the weird craft quickly started springing up from both American and British citizens. And most of these sightings shared one characteristic. The so-called Aurora was a unique triangular shape, the likes of which had never been seen before. Before we get carried away, though, I've done some digging. And trust me, the 1985 budget doesn't mention either black aircraft production or the word Aurora. No. It seems Aviation Week made up
Gusto
the
ra bang
shaggy
hubak ko
times
niya?
to garner hype. What a bunch of frauds. Okay,
Nya,
but
nagdula ko
what about the
basketball, wala ka
sightings?
nag-ilis pag ulit.
A lot of these alleged sightings could be
Kana lagi
explained
ako
by
ng
the
sulog.
fact that triangular aircraft like the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber are now known to have been tested around the same time. So it's likely that people were just seeing test flights or prototypes of those crafts. Regardless, the legend persists even today with sightings as recent as this 2022 one. Even if that photo is completely unedited though, don't you think it looks pretty similar to this B-2 bomber being escorted by a couple of fighters? Yeah. It's not an uncommon formation. But wait, the strangest part of all this is that a patent for something a whole lot like the legendary craft actually exists. Held by one John St. Clair, it was filed in 2004 and goes into pages of detail describing what the craft is made from and how it could fly. Yet aside from this strange document, we know very little about St. Clair himself. Is he even a real person, or just smoke and mirrors? And it's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. What do you think? Is the Aurora fact or fiction? Let me know in the comments down below. Soviet snitches and fox bats. Is it okay to snitch trying to contribute matters to the man in Washington? Well, that is, unless you're snitching to him instead of on him, then it's totally cool. Enter Victor Belenko. Belenko was born in Soviet Russia in 1947. Like many men in communist Russia, Belenko joined the military and eventually ended up becoming a pilot in the Soviet Air Defense Forces. He was stationed at Churyeka, Norsky Kraj, and collected base on naval repairs. Victor went to his superiors to offer solutions, but he was ignored, being
Yeah.
sidelined while trying to
Kasi yung
stand up
gitaon
for his
niya.
comrades that
Wala
quickly
lagi kuha
disillusioned
ang
with
kanon.
communism. And on the 6th of September
Kapag kaon?
1976, he heard the call of freedom, decided to fly to the nearest Western
Ginamos na yung
airport,
sudan, palitan na mo ro
Japan,
ginamos.
with the aim of tracking to the west. He
Matik
flew
yung
the top
isda.
secret Mikhail Gurovich MiG-25 Foxbat, a Russian interceptor and reconnaissance bomber. At the time, the plane was
Good
incredibly
morning.
feared by the U.S. military. See, Washington
Wati
thought it was the
ka.
MiG-23,
Hello.
a different fighter
Hello,
that
Melvin. Hello,
could
Wati.
be mass-produced at low cost. The aircraft was supposedly capable of besting the speed of sound,
Kamu di mo
circling,
nga
and
mag-active.
bombing, and
Uli mo yung
potentially more
kanan.
formidable than the U.S.'s own SR-71. But when Victor showed up to defect at Hakodate Airport one, without being noticed thanks to bad weather and
Oh,
poor
di mo mo
Japanese
kaon
air
yung isda nga
defenses, he
pula.
brought along a manual. After studying it, the U.S. realized the Foxbat was nowhere near as advanced as they thought. It couldn't hit either the speed or altitude of the SR-71 and lacked a sophisticated radar system. In other words, old Victor was embraced with open arms. He since lived peacefully in the USA, working as an author and consultant to the U.S. government. I wish life was that easy for me. And hey, I did give the good man a major breakthrough during a time of intense international tensions. Or did I? The mighty dragon.
China.
Remember when I told you how China's probably stealing U.S. drone designs? Well, that's not the only thing they've been accused of stealing from the West. This here is the Chengdu Mighty Dragon. Taking a good enough look? Great. Now here's the American F-22 Raptor. Luke familiar? That's because the Mighty Dragon was likely designed with stolen information on the F-22. The U.S. government is convinced that successful Chinese espionage efforts have resulted in the country getting a hold of top-secret fighter plane designs. The result? China is now one of the only three nations alongside Russia and the U.S. to have an advanced fifth-generation fighter in its arsenal. That means fighters on the cutting edge of modern style tech with agile frames, advanced electronic features, and capable of sustained supersonic flight.
Panggubat na nila ya.
Basically, the Mighty
Huh?
Dragon should be underestimated. After a group of American F-35s flew beside some of the Chinese aircraft over the East China Sea back in 2022, U.S. pilots were impressed with the rival planes. What's more, over 200 of them may be combat ready. But while the Dragon is undoubtedly impressive, many experts say it still doesn't seem up to the stuff. You know what I think? We should get U.S. and Chinese pilots to stage one huge game of hide and seek at 50,000 feet. It's the only sure way of knowing which one is better, right? That would probably mean World War III. Never mind. The notorious Nighthawk. The Nighthawk. No, I don't mean the Marvel supervillain. I mean the United States secret super plane, the Lockheed F-117 Nighthawk. This sci-fi looking plane was so secret it's super that its maiden flight in June 1981 was over Area 51. Yes, that Area 51. In 1983, it became operational but was kept under strict secrecy for years to protect American national security and interests. Nighthawk is an attack plane designed using state-of-the-art stealth tech, meaning it's exceedingly hard for radar to pick it up. That's because of its shape. Right angles bounce signals back to radar, so the Nighthawk has none of them. It's also covered in radar-absorbent material, making it even more effective at evading detection. Nicknamed the Wobbling Goblin by pilots that flew it because of its difficult handling, the Nighthawk was never actually leaked in the traditional sense. But throughout the 1980s, mysterious sightings and rumors fueled public interest in the strange craft. Then in 1988, the U.S. government finally admitted its existence, after which it enjoyed another 20 years of service before being retired in 2008. However, the plane is still spotted around the world, including California, as recently as 2021, and is said to have been deployed in the Middle East after its official retirement. In the USA, it's still which might explain the Californian sightings. Why has it been seen in the Middle East? Maybe there's more to the Nighthawk than we know, even 40 years later. Era Comet. Not every secret military aircraft looks like it's come straight out of the sci-fi movie. Take the P-59 Aero Comet. Despite that jazzy name, it looks pretty normal, right? But it was actually the first ever jet-powered aircraft made by the U.S. They made a pretty big deal. See, before jet engines, planes relied on propellers, which are way, way less powerful. With jet engines, planes were able to fly faster, for longer, and at higher altitudes. And guess who invented that? Germany, back in 1937. Because of this, once World War II was in full throttle, the Allies were super keen to catch up with the technology. The Brits were ahead of the U.S. in jet development, so sent over one of their own engines to work from in 1941. The final result? The Aero Comet. Because the U.S. didn't want any friendly powers to know about its advancement in the field.
Surat basketball pagbuntag, wag gani nagligo.
So much so that it was
Mayong pagkawali tubig.
named F-159, the same name as a canceled propeller-based fighter to trick anyone that might accidentally hear about it.
Nga nung wala man ka naligog sa'yo, mag-iubo man ka.
Despite all these measures, though, it found itself in compromising positions fairly regularly. Like the time when rains flooded Muroc Airfield in California, where the second prototype was being tested.
Ibi may mong giuna, makatambal lang, tebe.
35 miles to a different airfield on a public road without giving prying eyes a good glimpse. Jeez. Ultimately, though, the Aero Comet never saw combat. It was underpowered in comparison with the British jets, and production was too slow for it to have had an effect on.
So wala pa kag-eskwela, oy ubo pag nag-eskwela na, ubo na.
Son of the Blackbird.
Kay tingki ata, inom og ng tubig.
Blackbird is considered one of the greatest planes ever made. Able to whiz around the skies at over 3 times the speed of sound and travel for a remarkable distance.
Dahil magulo ito lahat.
It certainly earned its place in the Military Aircraft Hall of Fame. But what if I told you that it has an even more advanced sun capable of
Sige, tupag ng hubak din ako matay.
Meet the Lockheed SR-72. This pipeline can penetrate the night airspace and strike nearly any location across any
Dako na
continent
ka, di ka
in
mag-amping?
less than an hour. How? Because it can reach hypersonic speed and fire hypersonic missiles. That's over 5
Daghan na namang
times
namatay
the
ng
speed of
hubak.
sound. Jeez, terrifying. Though apparently only a concept for now, a prototype is rumored to be scheduled to fly as soon as 2025. The words of Lockheed Martin Executive Vice President seem to contradict the fly in 2025 narrative, however. According to him, the tech is now mature, which could imply that the SR-72 or something similar might already be in flight. Has Lockheed Martin accidentally leaked the truth with this statement? Let's be honest, even if they had, it's not like we'd ever stand a chance of glimpsing this.
Thank you, the plankton.
Northrop Grumman X-47B.
How
Here's an
are
aircraft
you?
so elusive, only 2 of them exist in the whole world. Developed for the U.S. Navy as a successor to the impressive X-47A Pegasus, the X-47B is a tailless combat drone with folding wings that boast a whopping span of just
Thank
over
you.
62 feet when opened. But it isn't just the fearsome appearance of this craft that commands respect. It's developed with a GPS-based navigation system that gives it the ability to land autonomously and precisely on a moving Navy aircraft carrier. And it can also be pre-programmed to set out and complete a
I'm
mission
okay.
alone with little to no human intervention. Just 2 tons of automated weaponry. Christ, this thing's like a real life Terminator of the sky. From its first flight in 2011, it's routinely exceeded expectations. It performed so well during its testing period that it was packaged off early for sea testing. Able to reach an altitude of 40,000 feet and accommodate several kinds of surveillance sensors, it's a tour de force of aircraft engineering.
Nice here. Thank you so much,
It never
Padaga.
actually moved out of testing. Instead, it was decommissioned and the 2 crafts were ultimately shipped back to land where they were expected to be exhibited in 2 aviation museums. Apparently, there were concerns that they proved too
Okay,
costly
good night.
and weren't stealthy enough to warrant cost. However, its successor, the X-47C, is currently in development. That drone is
Take
touted to
care,
be
God
even more
bless.
aggressive. It seems a shame to shackle such an extraordinary piece of equipment to something as ordinary as a museum, doesn't it? But then again, maybe the 47C has tech we can't even begin to comprehend. Boeing bird of prey. If I say bird of prey, you might think of eagles or vultures. But there's one bird of prey that could have been far more dangerous than either of those, the Boeing bird of prey. The development of this craft back in the 1990s was a blind project. That means it was highly classified, top secret, and not publicly acknowledged at all. It's believed to have been developed to run tests on state-of-the-art stock types, such as active camouflage that adapts to its surroundings and even prevents its own shadows. Game-changing stuff. However, its life as a blind
Nanalo gyud
project
kog
was
tubig kay para
very
makaligo
short-lived.
sila sayo no.
Despite being relatively low cost, the bird of prey only survived 3 years in
Talungan
testing
na ng
and was
TV, be.
retired before the
Pero ang
20th
pahaway para
century
maligo.
due to poor flying capabilities.
Naana jud mo anang wala klase di mo mga ligo da balag pang ubo. Nasa spiya. Papalong ang TV. Tagsa pag TV niya pagkahuman di gani mga ligo daan. Oh, pabunal. Palungo na kay kabalong unsa inyong obligasyon ni kasi yung buntag mga ligo usa mag TV wa gani mo kasilhig. Ang sila perting hugawa. Ni magulang nimo kasi nag-ubo-ubo wa gyud ning kamo to tali buntag sayo. Kasi napagas. Na bago rin agas na Sabado kayo. Dagang ay manggamit sa tubig.